Welcome to Running for Real, a global community with a shared love and curiosity for running. Together we reconnect with the reasons why we love to run and discover ways it helps us become better people. Whether it's the quiet moments of a morning run while the rest of the world still sleeps, or befriending the strangers next to you at the start line of a race. We are here to connect with others who see running as the common thread that weaves our lives together. Come join me, Tina Muir, as I talk with people from all walks of life, united by a love of running. Hello, my friends. Welcome to episode 292 of the Running for Real podcast. Thank you for joining me today. I am excited that you are here. As you can probably hear, my voice is a little bit husky. I am just coming over a cold that was pretty nasty and has led me with this pretty nasty chesty cough. So I've put off recording for as much as I can, but you will hear over a few episodes, especially running reunion episodes, as my cold was progressing, that, it was a bit of a rough time for my body. So I'm thankful for my body for healing right now. Okay, today I am excited to welcome someone on the show who has actually only been on one podcast, which is absolutely mind-blowing, considering she was inducted into the National Distance Running Hall of Fame in 2006. She was is a three-time second-place finisher in the Boston Marathon, the first American woman to break 2:30. She has been recognized by the International Association of Athletics Federations as having set world bests in multiple distances, and she is widely considered one of the most dominating American female road runners of the 1970s, and also was called the Queen of US women's distance runners. I don't know how she hasn't been on more shows, but I'm very excited that we will be having Patti Catalano Dillon on the show today. She is a bubbly, fun, upbeat, a force to be reckoned with, and I am excited that we have her on the show today, and I want to thank my friend Sanjay Rawal for connecting us here. Now, I've told you a lot about Patti's accolades, but there is so much more to her, and a lot of the things we talk about in this episode she has not covered before, and some of these are going to be pretty serious topics that I think need to be taken with care. So I just want to let you know that we do talk about eating disorders in this episode. And if this is something you are working through, eating disorder support is available. You can chat, you can call, you can text by going to nationaleatingdisorders.org. There's also a phone number there. I will put a link in the show notes. They have a helpline. If this is something you are working through, this is very serious. And as you know, this is something very passionate to me. So I will put links in the show notes for that. But if you need to use their call number, it is 800-931-2237. That's 800-931-2237. So I wanted to give you that warning. We do cover eating disorders in this episode, and it is quite, she's quite honest about what she went through. So I just wanted to give you the heads up. All right, friends, let's take a moment to thank one of our sponsors. Then we right to this episode with Patti Catalano Dillon. Thank you to Tracksmith for sponsoring this episode of the Running for Real podcast. And friends, if you are going to be in Boston this month, you can be sure to come join my Shakeout with Tommy runs from the track house at Tracksmith on the day before the marathon, which is the Sunday, the 17th of April. You can come join me for a Shakeout run. We're also going to record a together run, so you can be part of that. You can go check out the Tracksmith store, and you can see lots of the other events they have going on that weekend. Tracksmith loves to take care of the running community, and this weekend is no exception. Now, Tracksmith is an independent running brand fueled by a deep love of the sport. We know that together the running community has the power to drive positive change, and that inspired Tracksmith to rethink how they work with their partners to show up with others. They are proud to support our podcast, and they want to give back to my favorite nonprofit, which is Runners for Public Lands, a 501c3 nonprofit environmental organization that is dedicated to environmental justice, advocacy, and conservation. So if you you use code TINA15, you will get free shipping and 5% of your order will go to Runners for Public Lands. So you can go to the link in the show notes is probably the easiest way to get there, or you can use code TINA15 as I mentioned. But if you go to that link in the show notes, you will get to see some of my favorite items, so you can go check them out, and all the beautiful colors they have them in right now. Lots of people have been commenting on my one of my yellow shirts that I've been wearing from Tracksmith, which is one of their new arrivals, and the reason it is just so comfortable, it's the Thor long sleeve, by the way, if you want to check that out. The Thor, as in THAW long sleeve, that is getting compliments everywhere I go. You can go to tracksmith.com and use code TINA15 to get that special offer. And I'll see you on April 17th if you're in Boston. See you then. Patti, thank you so much for joining me today on the Running for Real podcast. I'm excited that you are here.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. This is great. I'm a fan of yours.
Well, thank you. Likewise.
This is just wonderful. I mean, I just feel like I already know you, like we've already met or something. It's just, I don't know. It's nice. But, I've been a fan. I love you.
Well, I very much feel the same, and I'm excited to have the opportunity to have this conversation. I'm excited to dig in. Have you been on a running podcast, any of the other ones?
Yes, I've been on Marcus.
Marcus. Okay,
Marcus.
great.
Okay, and now we're buds.
Yeah. Yes.
You know how he is.
He's an easy person to be friends with, yes.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we usually say good morning to each other on DM.
I love that.
Yeah, and then we Zoom.
Although for him, it's afternoon by the time you're waking up, right?
Yes. I wake up early. So if we text around 4 or 5 in the morning, it's like 8 or 9 there. And he's already either run, his kids are fine, and he's having his coffee, or he's at work or something. And we just like Zoom in. And we're supposed to do a Zoom. I think we're supposed to do a Zoom Friday. Oh. But, I know. I had, my eye was bloodshot. I had a touch of I think I caught something from my cat.
Oh, wow.
So I didn't want to go on the Zoom with the thing in my eye. But we try to Zoom like once every other week now. And we just talk life, running, how to run things by each other. He's a nice guy.
I love that. I absolutely agree. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. But today we're here to talk about you. Marcus is wonderful. But we want to make today about you. So with that, you are widely considered one of the most dominating American female road runners of the 1970s. You were also called the Queen of US Women's Distance. And there's plenty of accolades. You seem like you're humble in that still kind of makes you cringe a little bit, like hearing.
Oh, yeah, it's like, it's just me. It's just Patti.
And I hear you, because I feel that way sometimes when people come up to me. But that said,
right.
Are you able to look back on that and be like, wow, I did that. I did all that. I was a 3-time second place finisher in Boston. I was the first American woman to break 2:30. I had all these world bests. Like, do you ever stop to be like, I did that? Like you said, it's just me, but I did that.
Sometimes some of it I do when I get my hair back up and I think, hey, wait a minute. There's certain races that I call upon that like, oh, wow, I did that. And I get the chills or something. I can't believe how I did it. I always amaze myself. This is crazy. You know, when you get to the race and you're on a starting line and, you can't feel your fingers, and like it would start under my pit and it would be like, I can't feel my arms.
Like from nervousness.
No, from nerves, right.
Yeah.
And I could just feel myself white and my mouth dry. And I'm bluffing. I mean, I'm just bluffing. I mean, I feel awful and I'm bluffing my way through. And the gun goes off and I don't know how I would do a sub 5-minute first mile. Like, where did that come from? And so things like that, I would go over my splits, or I would tell one of my athletes a story about one of my races to show them that, yes, you can do this. It's mind over matter. Matter matters. And to help them. I said, it happens. It's real. You can do this. You're fit enough. You don't worry about it. I got you ready you can handle anything because this happened to me. I helped you, things like that. But no, when it was happening though, did you ever do this? Okay. The first time I was ranked, I think it was in 78. I was number 3 road runner. And then 79, I was number 2. And then 80, I was number 1. And then 81, I was number 1. And I remember walking into the football stadium, the Patriots football stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts. And I went in, and I went through the tunnel, I got my seat, and I stood there, and I looked around, and I went to myself, to nobody. But I stood there, and I just went, oh, wow. I bet I can beat every girl here.
Yeah.
Like things like that would just overwhelm me. It'd be like and then I would go to a race and, that that you've won before, you've done the work, you have a feeling you're going to win. And well, that you can handle anything that comes by you. And then so-and-so is there. And this wasn't the time when I'd go to a race and not every woman knew who was there. I didn't know so-and-so was going to be there. And then I would see her warming up and I'd choke.
Yeah. So it would affect you. Like, did you struggle with that in races of,
Oh, no.
You always put your kind of game.
I got in my car though, and I swore. This really happened. I did a 2-hour run, easy 16-mile pace, and it was in the summertime. It's in June. It's steamy. And I did it with a bunch of guys in Boston. Mm-hmm. And they're all talking about how they're going to go to the Litchfield Hills Road Race in Connecticut. And it was being put on by a sports writer for the Boston Globe who befriended all of the runners. So, of course, we all would do anything for him because he was so kind and told stories about us, and anything that came over the line, the AP line, he would just put it out there. He was just great. Joe Concannon. So I thought, okay. I asked my coach, I said, everybody's going to Litchfield. Can I go too? I'll do the race. And he goes, okay, sure. So I'm warming up. We go there. It's a 2-hour drive. And I meet everybody. I'm like, waving, hey, it's good to see you. Oh, yeah, it's nice. And I'm warming up. And then who do I see but Joan Benoit? And I just say, oh, hi. And then I just easily jog to the car, close
she
the
was
door.
your biggest rival, I take it, at that time.
Oh, yeah, Joan Benoit. So I get in the car, and I just go, and I said, I just did a 16-mile run yesterday, and now I get it. It's like a 7-mile run.
Yeah.
And it's hilly, and it just got through with the rain, and the steam is coming up off the black pavement. And but the first mile is fast because it's like downhill, but you go down, and that last mile is up. So, So in my mind, I knew I had my work cut out, and I wasn't prepared prior to dig in the well. Mm. I didn't think I thought I would just be like, okay, all I have to do is 6-minute pace, la-di-da-di-da. There's nobody's going to be there. Jody was. So I knew 6-minute pace was not going to cut it. So the gun goes off, I go off, she goes off, we go boom. I never saw her, never paid attention. And the first mile was sub 5. And I didn't know how. I said, it's downhill. It's okay. It won't take anything out of me. But you have to remember, I was strong. You're fit. I just did a run. My marathon time at the time, I think was 2:30, 2:29, something like that. Didn't matter. So anyways, I finished. I won. And I set a course record that stood for 39 years.
Wow. The 16-mile run the day before.
Oh, I know. So this is how I know it's mind over matter, but the matter matters. And if you want it, you can do it. And I just had, you're an athlete too. You know that you have, when you have to go to the well, you go in the well at races. And I thought it was a low key race. There's no ranking in it. It turned out there was. There's no ranking. It's just a happy local race that all the stars, like Bill Rogers, Vinnie Fleming, Alberto Salazar, Joan Benoit, me, like we all went. And it was all run and have beer afterwards. Of course, I didn't drink then, after races. And, but it turned out to be like knock heads. It was fun. It was good. It was good. But it stood for 39 years. It just got broke. Bridget, I think Bridget broke it.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah. I think she broke it 3 years ago.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, so it was nice.
Well, yeah. I mean, impressive work. And I'm curious, you say about going into the well, as someone who, knows that very well, that I did many races where I went into the well.
Yeah. I wish we ran against each other. You're
I don't know if I wish I ran against you. I think I'd be in trouble.
No, it would have been great. It would have been great. I think it would be great.
But yeah, I think we would have been friends for sure. But like I felt like I could only go into the well very few times because in a year, because I felt like once I did that, I was kind of almost like I'd not broken something, but I really struggled to push myself when I went what I felt was like beyond my capacity, which I did a few times, but I always struggled to push myself after that. But I take it you didn't really have trouble with that. You were able to kind of keep going for it time after time.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked it, but I didn't like going there all the time because I had so many races and I would pick. In my mind, what kind of effort was going to take, and I'd have to find the spot because I was carrying 120 to 150 miles a week while racing to get ready for the next marathon. So, and plus I had to make a living. So I would know who was there. I would ask who. And then after a while, it just didn't matter.
Yeah.
No disrespect to my competitors, my competition, the competition, none whatsoever. But I would worry. I would worry almost like a panic attack. I did have a panic attack. Okay, this is where it leads in. I did have a panic attack in Falmouth Road Race in 1979. Joni beat me. I was leading all of the way until the hill, all of the way. And I came up the hill and I could not believe I was leading for so long. And I was worried. And I kept thinking, because this would have been a big win for me, as a local girl. And I had already stepped out of the New England area for a little bit and I was making a little name, people starting to know the name. And I got worried and I thought, where are they? And I panicked so hard, so badly. I hyperventilated. I almost passed out.
I've had this.
But I ended up getting second. I ended up getting second and the third place person through the chute. How we just went boom, 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 boom. Well, Johnny won by 40 seconds or something, maybe a minute. But I did end up second, even with a panic attack. The third place, one of the girls came up and she bumped into me in the chute. And she says, who are you?
What did you say back? Or did you not have the energy to say anything?
I just looked at her and I said, hi, my name is Patti. Oh, and then I knew who she was, of course. But that really impressed upon me. It didn't hit me until later. I went,
Yeah, I mean, so this was early on, I take it.
Oh, yeah, it was early on. It must have been 70, 79, 78. Yeah, it was early on. It was early on.
Okay. I want to actually, before we go any further, for for the listeners, a lot of them aren't going to know. So let's go back, take a step back.
Okay.
You're saying, so it wasn't like you were a runner in high school, you were a runner in college and kind of followed the traditional path. Your story takes a little bit of a different beginning to what people might think. So tell us what happened just before your 23rd birthday, and what did life look like before you made that change in your life?
Yeah. Just before my birthday, people usually have like September or January, like start of school, they refresh, they reinvent themselves or something. And same thing with the first of the year, they have lists. So they're going to change, they're going to do this. Well, I did neither of those. I did my birthday. And so about a week before my birthday, I was at the hospital. I was a nurse's aide at the city hospital. And I loved my job. I was there about 10 years. I was a nurse's aide for 10 years. I dropped out of college. And because I was kitty whist and pitchers of beer. Nice life.
What is kitty whist?
It's a card game. It's a card game.
Oh, I saw that mention. I didn't know what that meant.
It was a card game. It was great. Okay. It was great. I loved it. And I was making friends, but of course not the kind of friends that you know, I don't know, drinking at 11 o'clock in the morning does not really cut it. So I didn't go to class. And it was fine because I really didn't like school. I really didn't like it. It was not my cup of tea. In any case, I only lasted a year and a half. I was lost. I took care of the hospital. I took care of a patient who happened to be a former schoolmate in high school's mom or aunt. I forget which. And she looked stunning. And I was like,
the friend from high school.
The friend from high school. She graduated from college. She had a job, navy blue suit, nice cream shirt, had a briefcase. She cut her hair. I mean, she was like la-di-da. And I looked at her and I thought, oh, I just kind of want to beeline, turn around. I don't want to say hi. I don't want to say anything. But then she says, oh, Patti. And I went, oh, hi. And I shook her hand. I said, so good to see you. And I said, how may I help you? And she says, I'm here to see, I think it was her mother. And I said, oh, I'm taking care of her. She's on my list. Come here. I'll show you. So I brought her in and I looked at her, and over the next few days, I just watched the relationship that she had with her mom and her. And I thought, my life stinks. I wasn't really doing anything that I wanted to do, even though I was a nurse's aide, but I didn't get home until, I didn't wake up in the afternoon until like 12 in the afternoon or 1. And then I had to be to work at 3:45. So I had like 2 couple hours to kill. I didn't do anything. I was nothing. So I made a list. I made a clock, what I did with my time. And I'd go out with my nurse supervisor, and we'd go out for a Mai Tai or something, because Chinese restaurants are open late at night. We got off at work at 12:15. Get to the last call, 1:30. So that was my life. Nothing. I blew up. I was big. I was almost, I was 152 pounds, and I was a size 13, 14, if that means anything to anybody. And I thought, well, losing weight would make me happy, and running would burn the most calories, as I read in a book, Ken Cooper, Aerobics. I only read that one chapter, that one paragraph. Jogging burns the most calories. I didn't know what jogging was. I had to look it up. It was running. And I thought, why don't they just say running? Why does everything have to have a new name? So yes, I started running the first day. I ran Earth shoes, which is a negative heel. They were knockoffs by a shoe company named Tom McCann. I paid $19 for them. Yeah. Daisy Dukes with the neoprene belt and like 7 sweatshirts, the good sweatshirts. You remember, like, I don't know if you remember, long ago, the Champion and Russell sweatshirts, their weave was really tight. It was a very tight weave, not like it is now. And I'd wear those, rode my bike up to the cemetery, locked my bike, and I ran.
You ran in all those layers to sweat more, I take it.
Yes, because that's what people did, right?
Yep.
I don't know. So I ran, and what happened was a cop's car stopped. I'm in the cemetery. Cop car rolls up, and I could feel a car coming. I could feel it. And then I looked, and it's a cop car, and I thought, oh, God. And I look at him, and he says, hey. And I go, hi. And he says, well, what are you doing? Jogging? And he eyes me up and down, and he says, okay, go ahead. Carry on. And he, drives, has his hand on the steering wheel like this, and he slowly pulls away. But the spell was broken. If he hadn't stopped me, I'd probably still be running. I went back to the Y to take a shower. I walked into the locker room. There's nobody else in there. And I just started peeling off my sweatshirt. And I got to look at myself in the mirror. No wonder he stopped me, Tina. I was white, red, and black circles. I looked horrible, but
from makeup
good.
Smearing, right?
No, I don't wear makeup.
What was the black from then?
I must have been dehydration or effort. Wow. Did you ever get black circles from running?
I think I constantly have black circles under my eyes.
Well, if I've run, that's how I usually knew if I did too much too soon or something. I would just look at my eyes.
Okay.
So I looked horrible, but I was so happy, Tina. I cried in the shower as soon as that water hit my face. I'm not a crying person, and I used to say that proudly. But now I understand why I don't cry. But I cry. My cat died yesterday. I cried all day. But I wept. I wept in the shower, and I felt so good. I never felt that in my whole life. It was profound. I didn't even know the word profound then. And I thought, if this is all I have to do to feel this way, I'm doing it. Yeah. So I went to work, and when I went to work, I was a quiet person. I kept to myself, and I think that's why the nurses wanted me to go out. They felt bad for me. I reminded them of their daughters or something, especially my supervisor. In any case, I didn't know I was smiling. And I heard, hey, what's the matter with Patti? I don't know. She's doing this thing called jogging.
So this time, were there not many women running? Or
No.
Really? Not even,
I mean, there's not even...
I guess this was the aerobics time, as you said, right? This was like mums and shopping malls. Yeah.
Right. Everybody was doing that. I'm not going to jump around in a leotard. What are you, nuts? It was the same thing. They had those aerobic Reebok, those black high top aerobic shoes. Yeah. And I was invited by these two women. They were starting a Reebok club to do aerobics in the gym. They said, well, why don't you come over here? And I go, I'm going out there. No, I just said, no, thank you. And I just saw them in the leotards, and there's no way I was going to do that. In any case, the next morning, when I reached over for my cigarettes, I couldn't barely move. And I thought, I hurt so much, Tina. Mm-hmm. It took me 3 weeks to run again. I was so sore. And what did I do? I did the same 7 miles. I did the same loop.
Wait. You did 7 miles on that first day?
Yes.
No wonder you were sore.
I know. That's what I say. No wonder I was sore. I was like, phew. No, in any case, yeah. Because you ran. You ran. That was running to me. Mm-hmm. Only this time the second time I ran, I wasn't as sore as I was the first time, but I did miss about a week to 10 days, something like that. Mm-hmm. And then it continued. And then I met up with a group at the Y, a bunch of guys, marathoners who just did Boston. And I'd listen to them, but they're going out to run, their talk. We've kind of finished around the same time.
So they would be okay with you running with them? They didn't mind? Oh, okay. No. This was not running with them. You were just listening.
No, I was listening. And when we would start at the same time, hey, we would start at the same time, and I could really hang on for about 3/4 to a mile, 3/4 of a mile to down a hill.
And they knew you were there? Like they saw you behind them?
Oh, yeah, but they didn't pay any attention to me. Okay. And over time, I mean, it happened pretty quickly. Over time, I had heard some of the conversations, and I stayed up longer. So this one particular time, I had heard a guy named Jake Mahoney, who was a Milton cop. He did a 2:38 or something in Boston. And they were really regaling about this Boston Marathon. And I just wanted to be a part of this group so badly. And I said, I'm going to do that. I want to do that. And he said, you do, huh? He said, well, you have to qualify. They're starting a race in Rhode Island. You have to qualify. And I said, oh. And I'm thinking, I have to qualify? I have to run a marathon to prove I can run a marathon to run this marathon? I couldn't get it through my head. So I said, oh, okay. I'll just pull things off. I said, oh, okay. And then my next question was, how far is a marathon? And he said, it's 26.2 miles. And I'm not laughing or anything then. I didn't miss a beat. And I went, oh, okay. And so off they go. And I just went, boom. So once again, Patti, I love Patti. Patti bit off more than she could chew. So I trained for it as best I knew how. I qualified. I did a 2:53:40, my first marathon.
Incredible.
And
no one was helping you with this, like to get that 2:53. This was just you.
No, just me. I did 1:16. Oh, and I was still smoking. I did 1:16-mile run. A friend of mine who I worked with, she had a car. Well, her boyfriend had a car, so we borrowed the car. And I didn't know it was 16 miles. So we get in the car, and we're smoking away. And I said, okay, take a right. I went down the street. Okay, go around this loop. Yep. And we're measuring it, you know. And this is right after I ran it. So I'm just reliving that. So we're marveling. Oh, wow. That's 10 miles. Oh my gosh. Really? Wow. And I'm looking at my legs and I'm looking, and it ended up being like 16 miles. And we're both going, wow. She goes, man, you're crazy. And I go, yeah, 16 miles. Who does that? And I said, well, I have to do more, you know, because the marathon's 26. She goes, you're crazy. She goes, but I think you can do it. I said, I think I can do it. I took the week off because I didn't know what was going to happen to me. Mm-hmm. You know, I really didn't know what was going to happen to me. I thought because I was so sore from the first 2 runs that I had, and even though I continued to smoke, during my runs, believe it or not, and like sometimes after the runs, I would cough up stuff like brown stuff, you know, and then it was green. I was like, oh. But each time I did, I could breathe. So I thought, oh, okay. So I thought if I ran hard, I would get the stuff up to make more room for air. That was my thinking. But I didn't stop smoking. I didn't put this to here. Mm-hmm. That was a slow process.
Was that at this time? I'm sorry, I should have looked it up. Was this the time, like, were doctors saying smoking was bad at this point?
No, I don't remember hearing it, but my father was a boxer, and we used to go to the Golden Gloves championships at Boston Gardens in April. And a lot of boxers smoked, but they didn't smoke during training, like 2-3 months before their event, because it would make their arms tired. But, I mean, I was using my legs. I didn't correlate with arms. Okay. You know, it just... And besides, I mean, I was living, that was my life. I was on the fence. I was just living my life, and I was doing this over here, making me feel good. And I was losing weight. I lost 52 pounds. I lost 52 pounds. Who does that? I mean, at the time, it was like, great. So I did my first marathon. I was still smoking. I married one of the guys in the group. He finished 40 seconds ahead of me.
Wow.
And he thought I dropped out. I was in the chute, and he said, "Did you drop out?" I said, "No. Didn't you hear I won?" And he said, "That's you?" I said, "Uh-huh, that's me." And I said, "So what was your time?" He said, "I did a 2:53. I did 2:53:40. If I knew you were that close, I would have beat you.
How did you take that?
Oh, we got divorced.
Yeah.
I was just glib. I mean, you just live, you just repeat, you just do it. And of course I took the winter off. I didn't run through the winter because it was too cold. And I got hurt. So I missed Boston 77. I missed it in 78. And then 79, I ran it. I got hurt prior to that. But I wasn't going to miss Boston again, because in Boston area, if you're a runner, everybody in their brother asks, "Hey, have you done Boston?" "Hey, have you done Boston?" I just got sick of it. So I was going to do it. So I did it, and I got second. And at 2:30, 2:38, I think, something like that.
And then you finished second another 2 times after that.
Yeah. I was gunning to win too, let me tell you.
Racing season is here, or almost here, depending on where you are, and it is exciting to see the races starting to begin to happen. And one thing I always make sure to do when I'm going into this time of the year to make sure I can make the most of these beautiful spring runs, and the best time of running all year, is by making sure everything is okay on the inside, taking care of my health. Yes, I realize I am saying this with a cold filled husky voice of my own. However, that is even more my point, that I should have been checking in on my body to make sure it is getting its defenses in the right place, that everything is ready to go. And this is the ideal time to go check out InsideTracker, to get your blood work taken and to see where your body is at before you get into this racing season. Because the last thing we want is to have worked so hard and then some deficiency or something comes along and we get injured, or we end up with some kind of deficiency that just pulls all our energy from us, like, for example, vitamin D or our ferritin level. If you are someone who has struggled with these in the past, go get yourself an InsideTracker test done. I am going to be doing it too in the next few weeks. And you know what? If you go now, I can imagine that you're holding my hand, so that when I get really scared and start to sweat and feel like I'm going to pass out from the needles, I can know that you, my friend, are there holding my hand, helping me through this. And I know it's going to be worth it. Even though I'm scared of needles, I still get this done every time, multiple times a year. I love to see my progress. I love to see how my biomarkers are changing and I am optimizing them. And I love starting the best time of the year with an InsideTracker test, so I can see how my body is doing, know what changes I need to make, and they make it really easy to go change them. So my friends, you can go to InsideTracker.com/Tina to get 25% off. That's 25% off by going to InsideTracker.com/Tina. And I'll see you when we get our test done together. Thanks, friends. I bet. Yeah, from what I've heard of you so far, that does not surprise me at all. I would love to hear, you've mentioned about this kind of transition that was happening and how this was making you feel, how this was the first time you said you felt like you could breathe and you felt like it made you feel so good. 2 questions. One, did that previous high school friend, peer, whatever, does she know that she was the kind of impetus that started all this?
I don't think so. I never contacted her, and she hasn't contacted me. I have said her name. Her name is Suzanne Haja. But no.
Yeah, that's interesting to think about that.
Like, I know, that would be interesting. That would be fun.
Yeah, I mean, I hope someday you do get to see her again. And then secondly, talk us through some of the, just the what other parts of your mental and physical health changed as you were going through this process? Like you've mentioned that the smoking stayed in there, that, maybe wasn't ideal, but as you said, you were just living your life. But what things did you notice that were changing? And in addition to, like you said, feeling
because I was losing weight and I knew training athletes only from the boxers when I was younger. They had special diets, ate special foods. And then when they weren't training for their thing, they ate cream puffs and junk food, went back to a regular life. So I was kind of confused. And at the hospital, hospitals don't have the best food.
Yes.
So I would be around not such good food all the time. And I lived on cheese puffs and Pepsi. And Twinkie. I loved that stuff.
This is when you were running? During this time?
Yeah. I was losing weight and I was still eating cheese puffs and having my Pepsi. And, it was just like, wow, this is great. But things started, my panic attack, I had a couple of times. I had one in a race. Mm-hmm. I say the panic attacks because they're real. And I had one a few years ago. I was with my husband. He's never seen one. And I called my daughter. They're horrible. And I didn't know what to do, but I knew I had to breathe. And so I'm very into breathing to calm everything down. I love breathing. Do you breathe? I'm very into breathing, the different practices of breathing. Mm-hmm, in any case, yes, that carried through in my running. I got overwhelmed, Tina. I was so overwhelmed with the flood of emotions. The first time people actually said my name and in a nice way. The people who would ask me advice because I had won a certain race, and I'd look at them and I just try to pull it off. Oh yeah, okay, just try to pull things off. But inside, I was, hot. I was always hot and dry-mouthed, and I'd shake my hands a lot. I'd go into another room and just go, and then gather myself and then come back. And then I knew I couldn't eat what I was eating to perform the way I wanted. I didn't even know performance. I didn't even know it was called performance or anything. I knew that I wanted to get faster. So I would ask people, what can I do to get faster? And they say, well, you should do push-ups. Okay, so I'll do push-ups. Ask somebody else, hey, what can I do to get faster? I go, well, do you do any abdominal work? Do you do crunches? I go, nope. You should. Okay, so I'm doing push-ups and sit-ups, like 1,000 a day. I mean, I'm doing a lot. And then I asked somebody else, so what else can I do? I said, hey, what can I do to get faster? They said, well, if you quit smoking. Okay. So I grabbed my cigarettes. I went home, grabbed my cigarettes. I went upstairs, opened a window, put my ashtray there, and I lit one cigarette after another. And I'm thinking. Do I stay in this life or do I go to this life? And both caused me anxiety. So I didn't know what to do. So after I smoked the pack, I said, I'm done. I'm done. So I quit.
And you were able to quit that easily?
Yes. And I set on my first American record 3 weeks later for a half marathon, 76:31, I think it was, in Waltham, Mass. So, it was like a positive reward. But then I was still having anxiety because then I ran really fast, the fastest time in the country. I had other attention, even though I loved it. And, I was like a kid in a candy store, it was like, oh yeah, hi. It was just fun. But after a while, I internalized, and it was a big responsibility. And I didn't eat. I think the first time, I think I had anorexia lightly. How do you have anorexia lightly? I don't know.
I think it's for disordered eating. Or
yeah, it's and I lost more weight. I lost more, and I liked it. I liked being sinewy. I liked it, but then I couldn't run if I didn't eat
because you kept
but
getting
I
injured.
Liked the way I looked. Yeah, and I was getting injured. Yeah, and I thought, but I didn't put it all together. I just thought that was a lifestyle. I have that one over there. I have this lifestyle over here. I do this over there. And I was really a mess. I just didn't know how to fit it all. And so I missed my cheese puffs. I missed my cake. I missed my ice cream. So I ate it. And then I got rid of it. And I thought, at the time, I thought, that's not so bad. So I thought I had a little secret. And
you mean so in terms of eating what you wanted?
Oh, yeah, eat what I wanted.
I mean, in some ways it kind of was.
Oh, right? Yeah. It's, I could only run so many miles because I had to work. So and then I thought I was going to have a heart attack. I really thought, like my first marathon, I went down to see my mother. Nobody was home except for my little sister. And I went over and I asked where everybody was. And she's all, and I said, well, tomorrow I'm going to do a marathon. Can I give you a hug? And she said, we're not a hugging family. And she said, yeah, sure. So she was 7. She stood up on the chair and I hugged her and she's like, why? And I said, well, tomorrow I'm going to do a marathon. I may die of a heart attack. I know.
I mean, I guess you weren't to know any different, right? Like, how you
I mean, I remember, I looked at her. I remember the clothes I wear. I had cut my hair. I bought new shoes. I bought new pair of Adidas running shoes, SL76s that were too small. Oh, I never wore them before until the race. Oh, geez. But I was willing to go die because I felt so good. If that's what I had to do, so be it. But I didn't die.
Yes, thankfully.
But I didn't know my secret had a name until I read in the Dear Abby in 1981. Now, I had been doing this, and I had developed a good sense of timing. How long I could go, how quick I could do it, and I had timing. And it got to the point, Tina, where it wasn't a choice anymore. I had to do it. I had to get rid of it. I didn't have a choice anymore. It was like, it was another thing, another lifestyle. Mm-hmm. I read in the Dear Abby column in 1981 that my little secret had a name. It was called Bulimia. And I thought, they won't know. And I'm looking around, I'm reading this on the kitchen table by myself in that Boston Herald, and I'm reading it, and I'm reading it, and I said, oh my gosh, that's me.
So you were vomiting, you were purging as well?
Yes, okay. Binging. I know, right? Oh, but it's a whole different lifestyle. My timing was good. I had good timing. And I don't mean bragging or boasting about it, but there is a sense of timing about all of this. And it took me a while. I wanted to stop and I couldn't. Mm-hmm. I couldn't stop. And that's when I panicked. I really panicked. And I had more panic attacks. I got second in Boston. What happened after Boston really threw me to the moon. My vibes were all out, and I had to get my vibration back, and that took me a long time. And I left my husband who's also my coach, and my shoe company stopped my paychecks. So,
wait, how long had you been with the names we shall not mention?
Okay, I was with them. I was the first woman athlete. I know. I was the first woman athlete to runner to sign a contract with them. Mm-hmm. And I think Joni used the same lawyer. Greg Myers used the same lawyer. They said, "What did you do?" I said, "I got a lawyer." I got a lawyer. Because I was sitting on the beach of Maui after I won the Honolulu Marathon. And here I am, I have no money, but I'm on the beach in Hawaii staying at this beautiful hotel, and they're buying $80 to $100 bottles of wine, and I have no money. I'm getting shoes and a trip. I can't eat that. So, over time, shortly there, I was on a trip with them, and the higher ups wanted to talk to me, and I said, okay. And then I knew I needed a lawyer. I got a lawyer, and he said, "Oh, I'll take care of it." So he did. And I bought a house. That was nice.
Wow.
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice. But when I needed help, I felt abandoned. I felt left out. I felt bad, shame, guilt. I felt useless. And then I thought, wow, you got yourself in. And I just felt so stupid, just stupid. And I went to the Mass General Hospital. They had a food disorder. I looked things up, and I took the T, went into the Mass General Hospital, and they have a food disorder section. I went up the elevator to the food disorder thing. I came off the elevator, and right in front of me is a reception. There's this counter desk, and they have food and women faces, and I walk in. I stand there, I go, "Hi." And the woman looks at me, and she says, "Hi. Hey, aren't you Patti Catalano?" And I said, "Hi, yes, I am. Hi, it's nice to meet you." And she says, "How may I help you today?" I said, "You know what? I just had a conversation with my sister, and she was saying things to me, and I think I need some brochures." So I got the brochures and left. And I thought, oh, crap. And then I did mention it to somebody, and then it spread. It just spread like wildfire. And there were rumors. And, of course, the company heard about it because I told my rep. And
when you say heard about it, like, so everyone is gossiping that you have an eating disorder, that you have bulimia, and at the time that was something that was kind of, the shoe company.
It's still a stigma. It's still a stigma.
So they were kind of like, we don't want to touch anyone who's dealing with that kind of thing.
I think so, because they didn't reach out to help. And then when I left my husband, they stopped my checks, but I knew that I left because I wanted to live.
Mm-hmm. Of course. I
was so afraid I was going to die. Because it got worse. Things get worse before they get better. So mine exasperated. It just, phew. And I did it. I wasn't running. I had gained weight like crazy because I tried to stop. And I got hurt. It's a whole thing. So they stopped, but I went back. Who can live without money? I have a couple of times, but, we don't want to go there. So, yeah.
You got treatment and you worked through it?
Nope, no? I didn't get treatment. I did it myself. I read about it, and I knew that my panic attacks were connected. Mm-hmm. I knew that sugar was addictive. I knew that sweets were not good. Carbo stuff wasn't really good, because if you talk to a person with this disorder, they know how to layer it. you have to, this is really gross.
Yeah. I mean, I want to just say, like, triggering wise, I want to, for anyone who is, could be triggered by what we're talking about here.
Oh, I'm so sorry. That's right. Oh,
no, you're okay. Let's just like, not go into the details. I as someone, I didn't have bulimia, but
just edit that part out.
Oh no, I mean, I think we're okay to just move through here, but I just want to, like, I didn't have bulimia, but I had an eating disorder, and I know that it can be very sensitive if you're in the recovery process. So from there, if we could just, you work through it. Obviously, that was a hard and horrible probably experience to go through as you were working through this recovery, trying to figure out your life. And lost a lot of your support that you had. But maybe you could just talk about, like, was that kind of the end of your running career? Like, were you able to ever get your body back, or was it just, yes. I mean, I know for a lot of people, it really is hard for their bodies to ever bounce back. Okay.
Oh, I did. Oh, no. There's a happy ending here.
Okay.
There's a happy ending here. This was 35 years ago. 81, 82, 83, 84. I made the Olympic trials. I had to qualify. I qualified at Houston. I did a 2:53, something like that, another 2:53, with only just very little running. I was like 135 pounds. I was heavy for me, for a runner, for me.
I was going to say, I feel like now that maybe it's changed. That's
yeah. So, it's, so I did it. Then a few months later, I left my husband again for.
Is this the same one?
Yep. Okay. Just before the trials in May. I went to the trials alone and paid my way and everything. I paid my way, hotel, did everything. And I did. I just wanted to be there at the trials because it was the first Olympic trials for women for the marathon. And I knew I wasn't going to make the team. I didn't train with the Olympics in my mind or anything like that. I didn't envision myself with the sportscaster at the time, Jim McKay, talking about the Olympics. And I never envisioned myself being there. But however, I did envision myself at the trials when I heard there were going to be an Olympic marathon trials. And I thought, I want to be there. But I used the motivation because I cleaned myself up. And how I did it was very hard. I had to change the foods that I ate. I went clean foods. They say clean foods now. I didn't know they were clean foods. I just knew that I didn't want to eat and have me eat more. Mm-hmm. And so I had to, if I ate more broccoli and potatoes, I wouldn't save room for dessert.
Okay.
So I ate this and then I walked away. And then I had to deal with anxiety. Mm-hmm. And I learned, and it was really good. I taught myself. And then People's Magazine, believe it or not, I did it with, what's that name girl, Kathy Rigby. She's on the cover. They were doing an article about athletes and food disorders. Mm. And I was one of the athletes that they interviewed. And they sent a photographer to my house. I was a nanny for our family. So they sent the writer and the photographer to the house. It was nice. And it was a nice house. She showed it to me. I think I still have it around. No, I never made People's, but I have her copy. Mm-hmm. It's in storage or something. She sent me the copy and it was nice. And it detailed on how I did it. And the magazine didn't want to publish it because I didn't go to therapy. Mm. So I thought, well, I did it. Mm-hmm. And I really want to encourage other people that you can do it yourself. It is hard. I had to tear things down. And thankfully, I was a runner, Tina. I learned so much from running, not about myself, but more about discipline, of course, discipline, organization, patient development, a time for to build the endurance, a time to narrow the endurance down to like fine tune it to speed, and then build the endurance again to carry the speed. I learned to be a competitor. I learned to run from the front. I learned to tag on to people. I learned to outdo them. I learned to lead and don't have you pass me. So I applied the same thing to healing that I did with the running. I understood it, and that's just what I did. And so at first, I didn't have any food in my house. I didn't carry any cash or credit cards. So I couldn't buy anything.
Hi friends, just want to take a moment to tell you about the Running for Real audio series, which some of you already know and love, but as I haven't mentioned these in a while, we have 5 sets of audio series which have 5 to 7 hours of content for each one, interviews with experts. You will get to learn pretty much everything you could possibly need to know about these various topics, and they are a great way for you to dive in if you have an interest in a certain area. So, what are the areas, you ask? Well, we have a beginners audio series for those of you who are just joining the running community and are still getting your feet as to where you're going and what you need to do in your training. We have a mental toughness series, which is definitely one of the most popular ones, as is the coming back from injury series. That one is one that's going to talk to you about being in the middle of injury struggles, what to do, what to reflect on, what not to obsess over, and how to get yourself out of it as you come back to running and getting back to your training. We also have a running through and after pregnancy series, which is going to take you all the way from thinking about getting pregnant through to postpartum and how to recover and how to trust your body and know what to feel for. We have a marathon training audio series and a nutrition audio series. All of these are available on actually the Tina Muir website rather than the Running for Real website. So if you go to tinamuir.com and click shop, you will see there's a podcast series section there that you can go check out each of these. There will also be a link in the show notes to go get those. So you can go get those at tinamuir.com by clicking at shop and check out those series. Once again, they are running through and after pregnancy, marathon training, nutrition, coming back from injury, mental toughness, and beginners. Go check them out now. I do want to mention those. This is something that we talk about a lot on here. Like you were able to do it yourself. You've shown us throughout this interview, you have this resilience, you have this like fire in you that is so strong. I mean, we haven't even been able to talk about some of the trauma that you went through, when you were younger. But I do want to say to people just that, Patti is a great example here of, as you said, Patti, you can do this. You can get through this. I think there's a lot of people who reach out to me who just feel like, I don't feel like I can ever be free from these thoughts. I don't feel like I can ever get to a place where I can live my life. But you are such a good example of that is possible. And I mean, you've shown here that you're bubbly and uplifting and fun. And so there is that on the other side. So I just want to highlight that as Patti being a good example.
The beauty part is you asked about, was I able to perform and, did I get my running body back? Yes, I did, but that wasn't why. I started running again, but that wasn't my criteria of getting that kind of healthy. I really didn't kind of want it. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But I wanted a family.
Mm-hmm. And you got that.
I did. And I had my daughter when I was 44. So there is, you can be healthy. You can get healthy. You can I had home birth. Nothing was wrong. I had 2 healthy babies. They're great kids. They're adults now. They have great spouses, no drama. Thank you very much. I homeschooled. My husband and I homeschooled. We had a homeschooled running club for our kids. We had 65 kids. And I wanted to impart the joy of running. I mean, just, it doesn't even really have to be running, Tina. It can be, it's nice, it's physical fitness, la-di-da, go for a walk, whatever. It's what you want to do with your life and live it passionately.
Yeah.
Mine just happened to be running. It just hit the button for me, and if I had to die doing it, but I mean, not really die, like crawl on your elbows or something, I was willing to do it because I never had a bad race. I always felt good, even though I didn't finish the way I wanted to or whatever. It was always the best I could do for that day. So if it's always the best you can do for that day, there's no regret. There's no going back. There's no do-over. That's just it right there.
Yes.
And that's how I live. And like yesterday, yes, I absorbed the sorrow of my cat. Now, I know some people said, well, it's a cat. Oh, you have to understand this cat.
No, I think that's absolutely.
She was so a part of our family, our network, our fabric. She was a feral cat. She worked her way in here. You couldn't pick her up, but you could touch her if she wanted you to. She would curl up on my husband's lap. Or she would nestle right here on your head. But as soon as you reached up,
yeah. You grieved her and you will continue to do so.
Because, that poor little thing, she just wanted to trust, but she didn't know how. So she went out, come back. And, like she didn't go far. She only went to the deck, lay in the sun, came in to eat, but all the other cats skirted her. Even my dogs, and she would make friends with one of the dogs and she'd sleep with them. It was just funny. So it reminded me of healing from trauma, and a food disorder is trauma.
Absolutely.
Because it that vibration thing, it goes way out. And then you're struggling. Not that you're struggling, wrong way. It's a struggle to get it back. Mm-hmm. And then when you get it back, why do you want it back? I figured that out. I wanted a family.
Life, yeah.
And why did I want a family? I wanted a husband. I wanted kids. And when I married Danny's been on our world cross country team 7 times. He's a good runner. When we got married, because I was older, we didn't think I would get pregnant. We would be pregnant. So we became foster parents, and we had 5 Native American teenagers.
Amazing.
And we did that. And then I got pregnant. I mean, we're really, if you adopt, how people, if they can't get pregnant and they adopt and then they get pregnant. Well, this is what happened to us.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I got pregnant right away with Aaron. He was a honeymoon baby. So it was just, God is good. I just tell God is good. Life is good. Life is good. And it's you just got to figure things out. And I whittled it all down.
Amazing what you've been able to do here.
Just whittled it down. What is it that Patti wants? And I go back to my clock that I made when I first started running, what I did with my time, and I wanted peace. And I wanted happiness. But, they're kind of reach out. They're like, you can't really grab it. But what you can grab and what gets a hold of you is joy and love. Especially not so much love of others, But I mean, I know it's like new agey, but it's self-love. Mm-hmm. I think first you have to like yourself.
Absolutely.
So there's parts of me I really like, and there's parts I don't really like, but that's for another day. But it ends up that I really, really do love myself. I really want to take care of myself. I really want to look good. I really want to feel good. I really want a healthy body. I want to be able to move. I want to be able to do things at my will. If I want to go cross-country skiing, I go. If I want to go snowshoeing, I go. If I want to ride my bike, I ride my bike. If I want to run 2 hours, I run 2 hours. However, I may be sore, but that's okay.
Thank you so much this has been so enlightening. I love the way that you've brought this, you've obviously had tough things. You've been figuring things out. You've done a lot of it by yourself, but yeah, you've reached that place where you said you've got that passion, that joy for life, of the life you want to live, the way you want to live it. And it's beautiful. So thank you so much for
thank you, Tina.
sharing that with us. I can't let you go without just, for a few minutes, I just want to talk about, it would have been so perfect to end it where we were there, but I really can't let myself not ask you about the shoe company. You talked about kind of a little bit about how they treated you back in, 1970s, 1980s. Talk about the fact that did that surprise you, hearing what came out, 3 to 4 years ago with Alicia, with Mary, with Lauren, with Allison? You must have known that was the culture back then.
Yes, because when I signed my contract with the lawyer, I'm in his office and signed a contract. I couldn't wait. I'm up there and there's my coach, my husband here, and I'm here. Lawyer's there, and he puts it in front of me. I get the pen, and I'm sitting on the edge of my seat, and like my hands are kind of sweaty because this is exciting. I mean, I'm going to buy a house.
Yeah, of course.
It's like, whoa. And as I'm ready to sign, the lawyer says to me, they don't want you to get pregnant. Like
the end of end of conversation.
I looked and I could feel my even now I can relive that moment. I could feel I'm sweating now. The heat in my hands. And I went to sign and I said, "Oh, okay." Now, I married this guy. I mean, not the lawyer, my coach, and he didn't want kids. Did I marry him after? I think I married him after. I think I did. Did I? I can't remember. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But he didn't want kids. And then to have this tell me I didn't want kids. Of course, when a guy tells you don't want kids, I didn't take it. I mean, I'm one of 9, so how do you live a life without a kid? But I know people do. Yeah. I mean, I know that's a whole other can of worms. But it really hit me, and I thought, I took it personally that I was so bad that nobody wanted me to have children. And I couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. No. So that was there. And yeah, it stayed with me. When did I sign that? 80. Yeah, I did Montreal knowing that. I did Boston knowing that. And it always gnawed. Mm-hmm. And then I was afraid to get pregnant.
Because of that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Because I didn't want I didn't want to lose my contract, which.
So it said, if you get pregnant, you will.
No, nothing was like that. No, okay. They didn't say that. They just said they don't want you pregnant.
Okay.
Don't get pregnant. So I was like, oh, okay. Fine. Because, this guy doesn't want kids. But internally, back here thinking, mm-hmm. It would come to the forefront. Mm-hmm. And I think, what's wrong? And at that time, Tina, quite a few male runners did not want children.
Yeah.
And so it was like the thing to do. It hurt. And so when my reaction to Boston from the feedback that I received from my coach spun me, and I was done. And that was just the tipping point. So I left. And then when they found out, they didn't find out until September, October. They did a film. They made a film of me called Portrait of a Runner. But we weren't living together then. We weren't together. And they stopped it. And I got a call, not from them. I got a call from my husband and said, they stopped it. So I had to go back. So And then my contract ended, and I said, thank you very much. So long.
So, I mean, I just want to give Patti from back then a hug. Well, you said you're not a hugger, but like...
Oh, no, that's okay. I do now. Did you know 20 seconds, if you give a 20-second hug or receive a 20-second hug, takes 20 seconds. You know me, I like the time. It's a time thing. Not that I'm obsessive with it, but, but, you know, hug your children for 20 seconds or more.
Oh, I hug my children for minutes.
I bet all the time. Yeah, we had a family bed. Our kids slept with us. Like my dogs sleep with us now.
Yeah.
It's
very calming.
It's a chemical reaction.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
I feel
it's
that.
A chemical reaction. It's very good. It's very soothing. It's funny how you learn through things, you know, because you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. So you got to do something about it. It's nice. So yes, I have embraced my bad stuff as well as my good stuff, because if I didn't have the bad stuff, I wouldn't have learned stuff. Like running. I opened a store because of my running. I learned how to organize things. I actually got a loan from a bank. I learned.
You have done a lot. I mean, it's actually incredible. Okay, well, I think we'll wrap this up here. I mean, we've gone over so much. I mean, I could dig into the you know, Alicia's allegations, the fact it took 35 years for the media to blow this up and really show it out to the world. But even with that, I mean, I think it's been pretty clear as to how that was able to happen. You know, very smart people, very careful wording. And yeah, I mean, is there anything else you would say on that before we wrap up?
Well, to tell you the truth, I was really happy at the beginning, and I wasn't happy when I signed the contract because my life was not my own, and that's business. That's a contract. And I ran when I was really hurt. I got worse. But though they did pay for my operations. So I was thankful for that. Thank you, God. Thank you. But yeah, I learned a lot. And I had to find me in that maze again. I had to find running for Patti, because Patti ran a lot of races on her own. You didn't have to tell me to run a race. But if I didn't want to do a race, it's not on my schedule, and they want me to do that race, I'd do it, but not happily. But, you know, it's business. It's, you know, I'm thankful that I did get shoes with my name on it. I'm thankful I got different colors. I'm not thankful the way I was thrown out. Like, I'm not thankful for the way they wouldn't let me run races when I wanted to run races. I wanted to run in the Olympic trials, 1980, the 10,000. And they said no. They wanted me to be a road runner. And I begged. I cried. I don't like crying. And I begged. And they still said no. And I told them, I promise you, I would win this race. And I win that race the next day. They said no. Well, you know, what are you going to do? You just do the best you can. You know,
well,
but thank you so much, Shane. I can talk to you all day.
Yes. Well, maybe we'll do a run. Well, thank you for your honesty, for your vulnerability, for just being you and being such a light of inspiration for us all. I cannot say enough to you. So thank you. And thanks also to Sanjay for really bringing Patti, all that you've done into my sphere of consciousness enough so that I could really pursue this and get you on the show. So thank you so much. And I appreciate all that you've done. Hi friends, just a quick message to say a big thank you to the Running for Real team. While I may be the face of Running for Real and the voice behind the podcast, there are a group of people who are working tirelessly to provide everything that runners could need within our community, to make our community stronger, better, and evolve and grow and learn from one another. We are working really hard to make Running for Real the place we believe it can be within our community. I just want to take a moment to thank everyone on our team. That is Victoria, Stacy, Sandy, Sally, Maria, Kelsey, Kat, Jeremy, and Erica. I appreciate each and every one of you and the hard work that you put in. Now let's get back to the show. I really appreciate Patti's honesty, her candor, her just upbeat personality despite a really tough set of situations. We didn't even get to talk about a lot of the trauma in her early life. There is a movie being made about her, so you will get to learn more about that, hopefully sometime in the future. Again, I want to put the nationaleatingdisorders.org website in the front of your mind, and the helpline at 800-931-2237. Obviously, yes, that is US, but I'm sure there is something equivalent in your country if you are listening outside of that country. Outside of this country, I should say. Just want to bring some awareness to that. We also have lots of Running For Real episodes on that topic. You can listen to Dr. Jennifer Gaudiani, Nancy Clark, Renee McGregor. Those are all some really good ones to start with on that topic. I just want to take a moment to thank our sponsors again for supporting this episode. Thank you to Tracksmith for sponsoring this episode. You can go to the link in the show notes to get yourself free shipping and to donate 5% of your order to Runners for Public Lands. That is the nonprofit, my favorite nonprofit that I chose to support through your Tracksmith orders. Thank you so much for that, by the way. Thank you to InsideTracker. You can check what's going on with your health as we are getting into racing season. We want to make sure we're in the best shape that we can be. So make sure you get yourself checked out there to know where your biomarkers are at. You can get 25% off by going to InsideTracker.com/Tina. And finally, I mentioned about the audio series during the episode. If you want to go check out the Running For Real audio series, it will be a link in the show notes to take you directly there, depending on which of the series spoke to you. So there is a beginners, there's coming back from injury, there is pregnancy and postpartum, there is mental training, there is nutrition, and there is marathon training. So you'll get to check out all of those. I will put links in the show notes for those. Thank you so much for listening, my friends. I'll see you on Monday for a Together Run. And then we also next week on the 6th of April, we will have running reunion episodes starting to pop up, which are short 15-minute episodes with previous guests. You're going to love them. They're really uplifting and upbeat. So I look forward to sharing those with you very soon. Thanks for listening.